my overriding feeling was he was very good-natured, I'll say that. He did his media duties. You always get less is more with Anthony Joshua. He doesn't spend hours and hours. He flew in for about 18 hours and went back to Dallas. But he knows that he cannot progress as a heavyweight prize fighter without, if it's not spectacular, a very powerful optics win against Jermaine Franklin. The world expects him to do it. He is a massive, massive favourite, Adam. And I think he's feeling that pressure, but he's allowing everything to take, the kind of route he's taking to take the pressure away from that. It's win at all costs now. Eddie Hearn said it on Thursday. There's nowhere for him to go if he loses this one. And there is a banana skin in this fight, in that Jermaine Franklin has lost 20-odd pounds and is at 232 now and looks lithe and elusive and fast. I don't know, I've come away from it wondering where he's at. I still don't know where he's at.
Spence, you were around him as well, and you know him, and you know him a lot better than all of us. Where do you think he's at? What did you take away from this week's media duties with Anthony?
Well, it's interesting. So I had a good sit-down conversation with Anthony, and it was interesting watching him up there on the stage, and he was talking, and he kept talking about change and change. So I asked him in the interview, what did you mean by that, Josh? What was you actually talking about? Change of scenery, change of style, change of trainer? And he said, well, a little bit of everything really, it's just, I like change, I like changing with different trainers. And I said, yeah, that can confuse some people, but you seem to take a lot away from that. He said, yeah. I said, but Derek James is a guy that likes fighters and he likes aggression. Is that what you're trying to discover, Joshua? Are you trying to rediscover that rawness that took you to a world heavyweight title? But with that rawness, you had that air of vulnerability about you. And he said, well, yeah, because I've been trying the boxing style and I need to find that's something that's going to take me back to the top. The big problem that Anthony Joshua's got right now, right, and what I took from this whole thing is the psychological damage that has been done between the Usyk losses and even before that, when we go back to Andy Ruiz and maybe even go back as far as Klitschko, right? And what Anthony Joshua needs to rediscover is that rawness that took him to the title, that where he's got put it on the line, go for it. But that's easier said than done, right? Yeah. We had this conversation earlier on. I said that psychological damage, and speaking as an ex-fighter, I know once that's there, that's very hard, if impossible, to repair. And I know this through the history of the sport. When you've seen some fighters, I'm going to use a great example here, guys. You're going to all recognise this.
Mike Tyson.
Right? No. A guy much closer to home, Aldi Harrison. He was the kid that was Olympic gold medalist. He thought he was going to do great things. Remember the fight against Michael Sprott when he got knocked out? That was the beginning of the end for Aldi Harrison. He was never the same fighter. Never the same. He could never rediscover that. He was so negative. And in recent performances, we've seen Anthony Joshua slightly hesitant and not willing to take that opportunity and take that gamble. Derek James, I think he's gone to Derek James to try and reignite that aggression that was once there. I think that's what's missing, and I'm not sure if he can do that or if he can't, and I pray that he can.
I've got a question for the both of you, right? Now, there's been a lot made, obviously. When he was up on that top table, he was asked the question, Eddie Hearn was talking, and Eddie Hearn said, I know that you love fighting, and as he was just saying it, Anthony Joshua cut him off straight away. I think Anthony Joshua's fed up of the sales narrative around him. I think he's had enough of it. And obviously Eddie Hearn's job is to sell. That's his job, and he's a fantastic salesman. But it was evident to me watching this from afar that he's had enough of the sales, he's had enough of the nonsense, he's had enough of the BS. And what I found there in the answer of that question, lots of people have jumped on me saying, oh, he's all about the money now, is he? Well, hang on a minute. Loads of people find motivating factors in loads of different things, and it's different for every human being, whether it be financials, that's fine, status, accolades. Some people say I'm doing this for my kids, some people say I'm doing this for my family. There's loads of different alternative motivators. However, the key thing that I take from it is the thing that he didn't say. And I've been in this situation before, and I've been in the fortunate position to speak to Conor McGregor. You've done this many times, Gareth. Whenever I've asked Conor McGregor about why he is still here, a guy that is incredibly wealthy, got loads of businesses outside the game, doesn't need to be here. The answer that he gives every single time is love. I love fighting. I love being here. This is me. It's in my blood. I absolutely love it. So here's the question to the pair of you. Do you think Anthony Joshua loves fighting? Not making money, not boxing, not the sport, not competition. Does he love fighting?
Right now, he is having an amazing time. When Derek James called him very intellectual, they have very deep chats about boxing. He's living like a monk in Dallas. He detailed his training program. He's away from distractions over there. He told us about that. I also asked him, myself on my own, do you feel vulnerable because there's such a level of expectation around you? He said, not in the slightest. I said, what hurts you the most? The one thing out of anything that anyone said, he said, nothing at all. And I said to him, many people who are successful are seen as successful from the outside, but they don't see themselves as successful from the inside out. Do you see yourself as successful? And he said, well, I'll answer this in this way. My success is how I grow as a man and a person. And I've been shaped by what's happened to me all the way through my career and up to now. I didn't take this up till I was 18. I think he's very satisfied where he's got to. I think he can think no further than the Jermaine Franklin fight right now.
I get that, and I agree with him. I think he's been incredibly successful.
I think he is in love with it still.
Does he love fighting?
I believe that definitely Anthony Joshua loves the sport of boxing.
I agree with that.
Totally loves the sport of boxing. And I just think...
And I also think he loves the things that it gives him.
Absolutely. And he tells me, and he says it on a regular basis, that he loves boxing and he wants to continue boxing for many years. And if he lost again, he would come again. If he lost again,
I agree.
He would come again. That's from his mouth. That's what he says. Right? So, what I found strange yesterday, by the way, guys, and I'm going to bring this up. Thursday, sorry. And I think it's very important that we do bring this up. Eddie Hearn, when he was up there and he was talking about, this roadmap for Anthony Joshua, 3 fights this year, something he's not done since 2016 when he captured the world heavyweight title against Charles Martin and made 2 successful defences. He said he's fighting 3 times this year. We've got Jermaine Franklin on April the 1st. Then we're looking the summertime versus Dillian White, possibly June. Then we want the winner, someone like Joyce maybe, or Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, but that sort of magnitude of fighter. I asked Anthony Joshua this in the interview that I done. I said, so Josh, tell me about it. Like, this is the road back for you. This is the redevelopment stage, is it? Franklin on April the 1st. And then we're going Dillian White in June. He went, whoa, stop there. He went, what do you mean? I went, hold on, I want to get to number 3. He went, no, there is no 3. Who told you that? And I went, well, that's the game plan. I thought that was the Anthony Joshua game plan. The one that he went, listen, Eddie might have said that, but I've said nothing. He said, I'm thinking about Franklin on April the 1st, and there is no game plan. I've had no conversation with anyone.
And you know why?
The fight.
Because if he loses, there isn't anywhere to go, and he can't think beyond that.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, he said, I've had no conversation about fights in the summer.
I don't believe it.
I'm telling you what he said.
No, but I don't believe him. Look, he speaks in riddles, so let's be honest. He speaks in riddles sometimes, Anthony, because he contradicted himself with a group of us over one thing you said there, but it's under embargo right now, so I can't say. He said at one point on Thursday, he said he had no regrets about dropping the belts when we were there with him in Saudi, and then he told the BBC, I think, in another interview with BBC News, that he'd apologised to Usyk. Look, I think the biggest thing for Anthony Joshua, he will be around for a long time if he keeps winning. Once he loses, we may lose him.
But the key question is, coming back to what I've just said,
I don't think we do lose him if he loses. I think he continues if he loses. And I think that he'll continue if he loses again.
Only with Fury if he loses. Sorry, Ad, you come in.
No, I keep coming back to the question. I agree with you. I think he loves boxing. I think he loves the sport of boxing. He's a student of it. You listen to him speak of it. He gets deep about certain things. He loves the growth of him as a human being. He loves the business side of it. He loves making money, as he said. I agree with all these things that he said. But when we get down to the nuts and bolts of it, right, you take all that away. Does he love fighting? The reason why I bring it up, Tyson Fury, right? If he wasn't as big as a star as he is right now, I'm telling you now, that guy would still be having straighteners on Wetherspoons car park on a Friday night with somebody.
Yeah, understand.
Would Anthony Joshua? I don't think the answer is yes.
I know where you're going. I know where you're going with it.
Because when it hits the fan in a fight, you've got to love that game. You've got to love it.
Let's tweak that question just a little bit. What you're asking is, do you think Anthony Joshua's had the fight knocked out of him? That's what you're asking.
Or was it ever really there? Because, again...
No, it was...
we've got to say,
wait a minute. Give him credit. 2017 against Vladimir Klitschko, that's still his most scintillating, thrilling performance, where he showed heart, stamina, and
I agree with all
those things to come back.
I agree with all of this, right, but there is a difference between taking an athlete, which is what he is, and turning it into a fighter, than taking a fighter and turning it into an athlete, which is what Tyson Fury is. There's a difference between those two things.
Yeah, I agree. But this is what I'm understanding with this whole conversation is, I think there's two parts to that question. One is, has he had the fight knocked out of him? And the other one is, does he still love boxing? Because I think that the similarities between the two questions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
Totally. And I will give you two different answers on both of those questions.
I think the boxing one is yes, he does.
1,000,000%. And he will want to fight until he's 40 years of age. Has he had the fight knocked out of him? That's the $1 million question.
Look.
Because, as it stands right now, everyone says yes. Because of his performances. Right? And that's what he needs to rediscover, and this is what we're talking about. Finding new trainers, psychological damage.
What have you stopped talking for?
And that's why, we're watching a fight in front of Vidal Riley.
I know you are.
And then he's Raj. And it's a great round. I think we're through 3, aren't we? But look, the thing is with Anthony Joshua, it's such a fascinating topic. I've said this many times about him, he's a victim of his own success. Most people will probably rank him number 5 in the world right now. Optics are very important. As you know, Adam, you're very much a social media guy. You know how it works intimately. If he gets a spectacular knockout of Jermaine Franklin in 4 or 5 rounds, which I fully expect him to do, and yes, he is a lesser opponent than some of the guys he's fought in his last 12 fights, all kind of world title fights in a row, that it may change him internally. I think he beat Dillian White very successfully as well. I think the big thing about Anthony Joshua is he's in this cul-de-sac where he knows this stylist, Alexander Usyk, has beaten him twice on boxing skills, and he probably knows in his mind that Tyson Fury is his hardest fight in the division. Now, I'm going to throw this to the boxer here again, because I know in life I don't lose my drive. If you're driven and competitive, you're the same, Adam. We all are. We wouldn't be here otherwise. We are driven and we are competitive. You never lose that. As a fighter, would he not in this era still want to step in with Tyson Fury?
Yes, I believe so. That's it, and I know that 1,000,000%. I know that 1,000,000%. And I tell you something here, right? Here's one. Let me throw this at you then. Let me throw this at you, because Anthony Joshua has been written off as a boxer now. He's finished his shot. He's not at the top level. He's not in the top 5. We put everyone in front of him. Joyce in front of him. Wilder, Fury, Hrgovic, Usyk. Right, let me give you this one. If Alexander Usyk beats Tyson Fury, if the fight happens on, let's say, April the 29th, where does that then...
Keep going, Spence.
Where does that then rank Anthony Joshua back in the mix? What I'm saying is, because he got done on a split decision, he did up until the 9th round, it was close, then he lost it in the last 3 or 4 rounds, everyone knows that, but are we reading too much into that defeat on what Anthony Joshua's got left?
No, I think boxing has done. I think anybody that actually follows this sport, the facts are, he has lost twice back to back to the pound for pound best fighter on the planet for me. There's no shame in that. There's absolutely no shame in that whatsoever.
For me, Anthony Joshua is capable of beating any other heavyweight in the world.
He's got the physical attributes.
He is capable of doing it. And we all know this is the legacy part of his career right now. He also said on Thursday, weirdly, he set himself up for a fall by saying, I'm starting to think about money because I've realised that when I'm gone, no one will remember me. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found it a very strange thing to say. And what he's saying is, I'm not going to worry about my legacy right now. But if he has 2 wins this year, he'll be thinking in his head, right, I've got my legacy fight next year. It's Tyson Fury. And he can beat him. I'm not saying he will.
Yeah, but he could have had it last year.
No. Mentally, I don't think he could do it coming off 2 losses.
Yeah, but the Catman touched on something earlier on when you said there about, he was talking about why are you driven? What is your driving force now? And he said money is my motivation. Right? When you put money over passion of winning belts, we've got a problem, because then you go, well,
I don't agree.
Where is the desire? Yeah, I know, but I'm talking as an ex-fighter.
No, I don't care whether you're an ex-fighter or not. There's nothing wrong with him being a prize fighter.
No one said that. You're not listening.
Listen to what he's saying, because I know where he's going with his answer.
You know where I'm going. That's what I'm saying. Let me go. So what I'm saying is, as soon as he said, I'm focused and my money is my passion, money is my drive, you go, well, hold on, because when you turned pro, when you was boxing, you wanted the Olympic gold medals as an amateur, you wanted the world titles, that was your driving force, and the money then come through collecting those. That has slightly changed now, where he's saying now he wants the money, and we're not talking about the titles, and we're not talking about the unifications, we're not talking about the undisputed, we're talking about the money. So what I'm saying is the mindset has changed, as in the driving force behind what he wants to achieve is not there by what he was saying the other day.
Well, but they're all those things, what you're saying there. Money, belts, undisputed, status, accolades, all these things. They're external sources that you're putting love to them. My question, again, I keep coming back to it. You get up in the morning because you have a thirst for the things that you do. It's the same with me. I love being on the radio. Love it. And if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, I'd probably have an internet radio station coming out my bedroom or something like that, right? Because I absolutely love the thrill of conversation and people reacting to that conversation. That's my love. That's the thing that drives me. It's not being on, talking here tonight. It's the thrill of people reacting to what I'm saying. That's the key driver. The why I keep coming back to the question of, does he love the fighting? The thing that is providing all those things is because you need that to get the other things. Because at a certain point he will fall down. He might not fall down against Jermaine Franklin. He might not fall down against whoever he comes up against next. But when he gets in there against Tyson Fury, he'll fall down if the main driver is money rather than the love of fighting.
Get it? He loves getting up in the morning. He loves going to the gym. He loves boxing. Does he love fighting anymore at that level? Is the $1 million
That's a question for him, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
But the thing is, again, I'll just draw it into context now. With all the things that we're talking about, part of his mind, remember, is on a new deal he's doing with DAZN. He's on a new platform. He's got new thoughts in his head, a new trainer. So all of those things will be playing around in his head as well, Adam, because we haven't mentioned that yet.
Listen, I don't know that, Mr. Hearn might have a few thoughts on me and my thought processes towards the level of the opponent. I want to see Anthony Joshua 3.0. That's what I want to see. I want to see him, and I want to see him raw. I want to see a wrecking machine.
But in the 40s and 50s, Joe Louis it was labelled by the media that he was fighting bum of the month at one point. I know the world's changed. Joe Louis, the great African-American heavyweight champion of the world, who was a massive star in the United States. And rather like Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora, I am not calling you a bum right now. When Tyson Fury stepped in against Derek Chisora at Spurs, that was the same accusation as well. I think you need to rebuild. We are talking about the rebuilding of Joshua. He could have taken that fight with Tyson Fury last year. I think his team guided him away from it.
Agreed.
I don't think it was him, because I think he'd step in with Tyson tomorrow.
I agree.
It's down to the team. Look, how fascinating is his journey, though?
Phenomenal.
It's absolutely.
And do you know something? If in 1 year from now we're sat here and we're previewing Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua versus Joyce, 3 knockover fights have kind of been worth it. Anyway,
Eddie Hearn probably won't give you a ticket for that now.
No, he won't do, mate. I'll have to do that from home.